woodworkers and makers of great things, welcome to my shop. From the title, you must be thinking, what's this knucklehead up to today? Of course you need a straight edge in your shop. How do you mark a line, set up a machine without one? Well, what I'm talking about today is a dedicated straight edge, a hunk of metal, aluminum or steel that has been purposefully milled and produced to maintain a good straight edge within high tolerances. So that's the discussion. And to be honest, for all my years of woodworking, I never owned one. I never thought I wanted to own one. It's just, you know, I've done pretty well with some of the other tools that I've used for that, mainly a 36-inch quality ruler and a carpenter's level. And between those two tools, I always thought I was getting what I needed from it. But so happens I was in woodcraft, so happens I bumped into this thing at a very reasonable price, and so happens I was preparing to shoot a video on milling rough sawn lumber, and I thought this might make a good prop, if you will, to demonstrate some of the concepts about you know, finding the lines in rough sawn 4-quarter lumber. So I picked one up and I used it and I kind of liked it. So let's test this against some other tools that I've been using and see if this is indeed a worthwhile tool to keep in the shop. Let's go over to the bench. Come with me. We'll take a look at this thing. So let's take a look at this Wood River straight edge. It is 38 inches long. It stands up like so, and it is calibrated on one side in inches, and then there's a metric rule on the other side. Let's see how straight it is. The standard that they quote is 3/1000ths of an inch over the length of the tool. So let's check that and see how it compares to some other tools that I used as straight edges up until this point. One of those is the Strait ASC 36 aluminum rule. It's a 36-inch rule. It has been my go-to as a straight edge for a while, and we'll see how that compares to this Wood River straight edge. And the other thing we'll check is get the markings in the right order for you. This is the Stanley Fat Max Extreme. This is a carpenter's level, but sometimes when I need a straight edge that will stand itself up, I will use that. This one doesn't stand up, so I use this from time to time. And then I think I've got a plan for this. What we're going to do is get our new straight edge centered up against the bench here. We'll keep the center one at 19 because it's a 38-inch. We'll take our Strait rule, we'll butt it up against it. Let's center the 18 over the 19 so that they're relatively centered. And then let's hold them together with a clamp here. And I'll do that in such a fashion that I'm keeping them together, but I don't want it so tight that I'm deflecting the rule. Back it off just a little bit. I want that rule to slide nice and easy. So I'm not creating any force that will deflect the rule against the straight edge. And let's go ahead and take some measurements on this and check that gap. See if we are really going to be in that 0.003 clean across the length of the entire tool. I've got the thinner feeler gauge 1.5 thousandths of an inch to start with, and we're going to go down and check the relationship of the Strait rule to the straight edge. And I've done this already. I've got it marked. When we get to about this point, we start getting into the crack, and by the time we're here, we're well into the crack, and we got a gap there that runs all the way down. It's getting tight now. It's getting tight now, but it's still in there. And about here it comes out. So somewhere between 3.5 and 11 inches on this ruler it appears we have a dip. Now we might have a variation in the straight edge, we don't know yet. We'll check that. So let's keep continuing down here, and we're good, we're tight, we're tight, we're tight. And then when we get right here to about 30.5, we start getting into the crack. We stay in the crack, and we're in the crack all the way down till the end of the ruler. So that's our deviation. This is pretty snug even when it's in the crack, so I think it's going to be at that 1.5. But let's just take the 0.02 of an inch one now. And run that one down. So now we're at 0.02 of an inch. We're starting to get a little penetration right here. Come back out. So that's more between 6 and 9 that the 0.02 will go in. And we know we're tight here because the 1.5 couldn't go, but when we get down to our next gap, we start to get into that crack, and by the time we're at 32.5, we're into the crack. Again, tight, but good. So it looks like we've got this 1.5 to 0.02 of a gap at various positions in the roll. So let's check something. Let's move this position on the ruler relative to the straight edge and see if that gap is consistently in that spot, or if there's a variation in the straight edge. So let me slide this down. I've been working with the 18 on the rule around the 19 on the straight edge, because this is 38, this is 36. So let's get this section that appears to be missing towards the center. And again, I want to move this. I want these two pieces to touch, but I don't want them to be tight. So I'm going to leave it here to where I can still slide this ruler, so I'm not deflecting the aluminum ruler at all. So that's good about there. So let's put the middle of this low area on the 19 and give it a go. Let me move the camera for you so we get a better shot of this. Okay, so let's check between these two markings with the 1.5 first. We're not really going down there. So this portion of the ruler is less than 1.5 thousandths here. So I guess any deviation that we had was primarily in the straight edge back there. Of course, it could be a positive, negative deviation on each piece, and that will complicate us. But without laser beams and electronics, we're not going to figure that out on this test. So now let's take that other area, and that was from here to the end where we had the gap. Okay, so let's put, again, not so tight that I can't move the ruler, and let's run that and see how that looks. And that too is proving pretty tight. So what can we conclude from that? We can conclude that the largest deviation that we were able to discover was between 1.5 and 2 thousandths of an inch, which is like quite crazy in spec, to what the specifications are on both of these tools. So we are pretty flat for flats purposes. All right, let's do the same test with my carpenter's level and see how that works as a true straight edge. Well, I can tell you right now that that's rocking. That is not going to be even close to this. But let's go ahead. Let's carry on our experiment here. See if we can get a measurement on it. Again, I want this to be, well, I'm not going to deflect anything here because these two tools are very rigid, so we can get that relatively tight. Okay, let's see how this carpenter's level fares against the straight edge. And we'll start down the end here with 2 thousandths. And it's completely buried until we get to about 15 inches. It sits tight in the middle, starts loosening up here, and falls off at the end. I suspect we are way off with this tool, but let's see if we can get a fatter feeler gauge. Here's 5. Yep. So it's very clear that using a carpenter's level for a straight edge is a real bad idea. 10 thou, that's 100. Okay, 10's not going. 10's not going, so we're probably 9. We've gone this far. Let's see where we are. Okay, so 9 goes and 10 doesn't. So we have a 9 thousandths gap on a carpenter's rule compared to a straight edge. So there's what you learn. You learn that the carpenter's level is not a good straight edge in the shot if you want any accuracy. Well, let me answer my question. Do you need a straight edge in a woodworking shop? I think the true answer is no. If you have a decent ruler like this Strait ASE 36, you have a great tool for for marking a line, for cutting a line, for checking flatness of surfaces on your tools and machines. This is extremely close to the formal straight edge tool. So do you need it? I don't think so. It's not always about what we need. It's about what we want, and it's about the kind of, like I always say, the joy you get in using a tool. The downside to the rule is, as I've mentioned, it doesn't stay up. So if you're trying to take a measurement and check for flat, or get a feeler gauge under there, or get a late behind it, so you're checking like your jointer beds, you need a hand to hold it up. The beauty, if you will, of this is that it stands itself up. So I can put this across a board, I can put this across my jointer, I can put this across my table saw, and I can adjust to straightness, without having to hold on to this. So I think that ease of use element makes it a pretty good investment at about $40. I don't think it's. I don't think we need the. I took some notes here. This Wood River straight edge has a tolerance of 3 thousandths over the total length of the tool. Costs about $40. A Strait 36-inch straight edge has a tolerance of 0.0002. So that is 2 10,000ths of an inch per foot. Do you need that in a woodworking shop? Absolutely not. Do you need that if you're machining heads for an engine? Yes. Do you need that if you're doing high tolerance metalwork? Yes, you need those things, but you don't need something like that in the shop. That tool costs about $300, $298. Woodpecker also makes a very nice straight edge. It is accurate to about 4 thousandths of an inch over the length of the tool. So very, close to this one. This one's technically a little better by the specs. But that one is about $100. So, it also looks a little better hanging on the wall. But Yeah, so I think this is a nice tool to have in the shop. I've gotten away for a lot of years without having one, without using one, and dealing with the, with the ruler. But you know, I'm kind of glad I picked it up, and I think I'll certainly stay with it. There's one downfall to this tool, and I'll change my camera angles and get you in close on it to show you. But one thing I think that makes this a lower cost tool than the woodpecker, and I'm sure there's a couple other out there, is it has an applied tape. So this is not etched into the tool, it is stuck onto the tool, and there is some variance. So if you want graduations that you can use accurately all the time, I think the woodpecker probably has it on this, because the woodpecker has their graduation etched into the tool. Let me move the camera, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. If you look at how this tape was applied to the tool, it is not referencing the edge of the tool. Let me see if I can put a little more light on that, give you a better view. But it is not referencing the edge of the tool. There's about a 1/64 of an inch. Hard to measure, but we get in there with a rule that has 64ths on it. You can see it's right about a 1/64 of an inch of off from the edge of the tool. So any measurements you take along this tool are going to be off by a 1/64 of an inch. Other than that, I believe the tool is, or the tape is pretty well calibrated. Let's hold it up to a known good ruler. Let's see what we got here. I got my rulers on for this. This is a Mitutoyo, very good, precise rule. And let's see if I can get in here. If I lay this out so that the inches are aligned, it looks dead on. All the inches are lining up out to 12 inches. So the calibration of the rule is fine. The placement of the rule is off, such that we get a little smaller ruler. We hold something square to the end, we're going to see that our one on this little Starrett ruler, get everything in frame for you, I hope. Get a little light on it for you. Their 1 inch mark starts that 64th inch beyond our 1 inch mark. And so any measurements you take from the end of the tool down are going to be off. And that's a shame, because, why not do it right? And I guess that's where your $40 price point comes in, and you get what you pay for in that regard. Truth be told, will I be using this as a marking tool? Probably not, but I'll use it for its straight edge purposes. But that's just one little thing I wish they could have done. If I can figure out a way, I may attempt to grind this end. It's just aluminum. If I can find some way to square that up really well, I could always grind this until the aluminum just touches the rule, and then that would be good. Do I want to go through that? Probably not. And again, I don't want to really use this for measuring as much as I want to use it for the straight edge function. So there's my thoughts on using a straight edge for the shop, in the woodworking shop, that is. I think it's more than accurate enough. I think for the work we do, if you're a machinist and you're doing precision work, go see Starrett for a couple of $300, $298, and get yourself a machinist straight edge. But for the wood shop and for setting up our woodworking tools and measuring our stock, I think this is a nice little addition, a nice guilty pleasure, nice thing to have for the shop. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. And if you are already subscribed, I thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed, please think about doing it. It helps the channel. Appreciate it, everybody. Now, stop watching videos and get in the shop, will you?